Hi, sixth graders. Today I'm going to read Chapter 14 from the Detective Club. When I got to Drew's house, I told him what happened, and he patted me on the back. Well, on the plus side, that shirt's going to last you a lot longer since the collar's all stretched out, he said. Now that's not really the time to be making lemonade, I said. I explained what the Sweet brothers had said during detention, and we decided we had no choice but to take martial arts lessons immediately. The trick was going to be convincing our parents to let us learn how to become deadly weapons. I gave my parents a long spiel over dinner about how I wanted to be there for them when they got old, which meant I'd need to learn how to defend myself in the present. I thought the speech went pretty well, but at the end of it, my parents were frowning. I don't want you using that stuff on your classmates. It can only lead to trouble. But I needed to be able to defend myself. Violence never stops anything, son, Dad said. What's the point of wars then? I asked. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the American Revolution. That's different, he said. But he couldn't elaborate, so I knew I was right. I made my eyes look real big and wet, as if I was a cartoon deer or something. I just want to have the skills so I can defend myself, I said in as pitiful a voice as possible. I even sniffled a little. Who's going to take care of you when you're really old if I'm not around? Is anyone picking on you? Mom asked. Tell me who it is, and I'll call their folks right this second and put a stop to it. I knew she was trying to be nice, so I didn't have the heart to explain to her that this was probably the worst idea in the history of parenting. I don't think taking martial arts lessons is a good idea, Dad added. You have all this aggression inside of you. No, I don't, I shouted, feeling really angry all of a sudden. Remember when we went to that park one time and you kicked that dog as it ran by? My dad asked. I thought it was going to bite me. End of discussion, Peter, my mom said. Honey, I have an idea. Why don't you try writing a letter to whoever is bothering you? I'm sure they'd understand. That's a wonderful idea, I said. I don't know why I didn't think of it first. To just put it into words, of course. That's the spirit, Mom said, pumping her fist. I think he's being sarcastic, honey, Dad said to her. Even though Drew and I didn't have any classes with each other, I told my parents I was doing a project with him, and they let me go over to his house after dinner. I figured it wasn't lying because technically we were working on the project together. A project to save our lives. We tried to work on his mom, thinking maybe if we got her on our side, she could convince my parents to let me take martial arts lessons. But she was no better because she's a dental assistant. Just win over your enemies with smiles. That's the best defense, boys, she suggested. Because as everyone knows, smiling is infectious. Peter, do you need any floss? I sighed. No thanks, Miss N. I still haven't quite finished the container you gave me last week. Drew and I went outside and started pacing back and forth under Corbett Canyon. I kicked at a tall weed sticking up out of the grass, but since I don't know martial arts, I missed. We climbed up into the treehouse. The moon was full, making the inside of the treehouse glow a dull blue. I put on my nighttime reading helmet, but didn't bother turning on the headlamp. The helmet is made of hard green plastic with leather straps. My mom was so excited when she got me this ugly thing, but I have to admit, it served its purpose. Every weekend this past summer, I read comics late at night with it on. I guess I'm going to have to start wearing this stupid helmet to school for protection, I said. We're dead meat, Drew said. And there's so much I never got to do in my life. I never did get to ride in a helicopter, for instance. Maybe we can teach ourselves martial arts, I said. If we put our heads together, we can come up with our own form of fighting. We can call it Peter Drew Fu or something. Or Drew Peter Fu, Drew suggested. No offense, but that has a terrible ring to it, I said. That weekend, we invented our own form of martial arts. We realized we had to use our main strengths, namely lack of size and slightly above average speed, to our advantage. To be honest, it was pretty basic, consisting of only 2 moves. Move 1, shoving someone in the back before they have a chance to realize you're even there, followed by move 2, running away. We focused our training mostly on the second move, land skiing, all afternoon. Behind Drew's backyard is a thick forest full of evergreens that severely slopes all the way down to the main road. Land skiing is a thing I came up with where you just start running as fast as you can down the steep hill, and because the ground is covered with slippery pine needles, you eventually start gliding in your sneakers. I got the idea because of the way I'd flown down the stairs so fast after detention, escaping the Sweet Brothers. The key to land skiing is you have to jump to the side in order to weave around the trees, and we quickly became experts at weaving down the hill like this. It's really fun and incredibly dangerous. On Monday, it was time to test out what we'd learned. In the lobby before homeroom, we saw the Sweet Brothers in the corner, and they looked bigger than I remembered. The thought of actually trying to shove them didn't seem like such a bright idea anymore. And we couldn't really use our land skiing abilities because the hallways were flat. We could run away, Drew suggested. We could start land skiing right now, and by nightfall, I bet we could get to the New Hampshire border. Instead, we thought outside the box and came up with an alternate solution, using the school's circular shape to our advantage. Basically, after every class, I'd head to the left no matter what to get to my next class, even if the next class was closer by heading to the right. Then, if I spotted the Sweet Brothers coming my way, I'd simply change directions, allowing me to avoid the Sweet Brothers altogether. Drew used the same strategy. It wasn't a perfect solution, though. The main problem was that it sometimes meant we had to do up to 2 laps around, and we'd end up late for class, and really sweaty too. But we figured it was worth not having to get bullied by the Sweet Brothers. All day long, we didn't run into them at all, thanks to our system. Another good thing was that for the first time, I noticed that we weren't the only kids being bullied by the Sweet Brothers. It turned out just about everyone else was scared of them too. Before English class, I saw the Sweet Brothers terrorize some 7th grade girls from behind by shouting in their ears, and the 2 girls ran away squealing. After math class, I saw Carson get shoved into the lockers by Hank Sweet. And before social studies, I was standing in the doorway and saw Trent changing directions right before he got to our class because the Sweet Brothers were approaching him. Apparently, we weren't the only ones who'd figured out this strategy. I hope you're enjoying the Detective Club, and I hope you think it's funny that the Sweet Brothers Last name is Sweet because they're incredibly sweet. Don't you just want to pinch their cheeks? I will be back later with chapter 15. Have a great day.